Welcome to another live edition of Five on the Floor. Tonight's floor plan with me, Major Passons. We're going to dive into the Miami Heat's resounding victory over the Clippers. Before we do that, I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. And have you ever fallen for a scam, particularly if it had to do with your money? You don't want that to happen. The holidays are here, and it's all about finding the perfect gift. But this time of year, not every deal is what it seems. Scammers are getting more creative. They're tricking people into sharing payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should anyone gain access to your account, so you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. Stay one step ahead of scams this season and keep your money secure with Cash App. You got to get that card. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can be getting our exclusive code Secure10 to earn some additional cash for real. Download Cash App, use the exclusive code Secure10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend, $5 to any friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App. Bank partners, prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank. Member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App. Let's get this episode started.
Uh-oh. Yeah. It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation. We the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket. Open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still five on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleeping pads or allowed to morning. The love to sleep in us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 reasons sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah, Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
All right, welcome back to Five on the Floor Live. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Tonight's floor plan, for real, we're going to dive into it now. We're going to dissect the Miami Heat's 140-123. You heard that right, 140. The Heat's offense is back. We're going to dissect that game. Major is here with me to do that. I'm going to shout out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. The link is in the description of this episode. Talk Heat basketball with us there. Go and do that for real. Major, we're going to use the segments to talk about all the individual players because, like, to even say one guy is the player of the game tonight, I think is ridiculous. This was a game that they needed. Like, the Clippers coming to town was really just what the doctor ordered in terms of them getting back on track. They played better. I know that Kawhi was crazy down the stretch. We're going to get into what could have been, I guess, a little bit more of a scary way to end, but ultimately was a great game. The Heat shot 52% from 3. Franchise record. Did they get to it? 24 threes. That's a franchise record. The offense was back, yeah. Major. Your thoughts on tonight's game, just from a general standpoint, and we'll use the player of the game segment to talk about some of the highlights of tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they were lights out basically from the start. Bam, quick 7 points. Wiggins, quick 7 points. At a time, it was 14-6, and all 14 points were scored by Wiggins and Bam, and each of them was outscoring the Clippers, and that was kind of like a sign of what to come. They just absolutely dominated. At one point, they went on a 30-2 run, which is insane. 20-0 run Then they let up 2 points, and then it was a 10-0 run. So it is absolutely insane. Defense was lights out. I mean, in that first quarter, they had, was it 6 blocks, 3 steals, up 11. I mean, they just jumped on them early. This game would have literally been like a 50-point win if Kawhi Leonard wasn't Kawhi Leonard. So, and then I wasn't even mad watching Kawhi because they were playing so great. Kawhi was getting his, and it didn't even matter. Like, it made it closer than it should have been. It robbed us ultimately of cast minutes. We got a minute, but
the real debut. 53 seconds is not enough.
Other than that, I mean, they were sensational. This might be their best game of this year so far.
And that's, I think, encouraging, right? Because things had looked not as fluid since Tyler came back early in tonight's game, when the offense was really humming and they were out there playing well, hitting threes at a crazy rate. Tyler was kind of just a key cog in the wheel. He wasn't like necessarily hijacking possessions or anything like that. And so I think what you're starting to see is them getting comfortable in where to be and figuring out how those roles will work with him on the court, with Norm out there. They're sticking with this small lineup to start games. I think that fans kind of flinched thinking, oh no, what's the offense going to look like? Everyone played good. There were a couple guys that played really outstanding basketball. Shout out to Andrew Wiggins. Brady Hawk tweeted about it, and I think that it's worth us calling out before we get to the segment that will highlight the top players of the game. But Andrew Wiggins continues to have a great season. And you mentioned defense. He was a guy that in this game was great on defense, had 3 blocks, played really strong defensive basketball when it counted early, and they were trying to create separation in this game. So shout out to him. But let's get to the Insurance by Lynette player of the night.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So there's a few guys to choose from here, honestly. But Bam Adebayo, 27 and 14, career high 5 threes in a game, played really well, 10 of 17 from the field. Only outdone by Norm Powell, who late was really great in terms of hitting threes, making sure that the Heat stayed separated from this team enough to close it out. Your thoughts on the performances from those two? There were some other guys that we're going to get to in a minute that were great as well, but just let's start with Bam and Norm. Your thoughts on the night from those two guys who, 30 and 27 respectively. That's huge numbers on a night when the team scored 140.
Yeah, Norm Powell does what Norm Powell does. 30 points, 12 of 18, 6 of 10 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He has just been a bucket getter from all spots of the floor this year. And my favorite thing, and I've mentioned it on post games before and other people have, is it's in the flow of the offense. Like, he's not ever, seems like, taking too much. Like, he's never trying to get his. He gets his in the flow of the offense. And honestly, everyone kind of did that tonight. So Norman Powell, I think it means a little bit something to him that also the Clippers didn't want to give him an extension. It looked like he was mad. Once he has one go in, he's going to score a couple more. But if I was forced to pick a player of the game, and give me one player, I think it really is Bam. From the start, from the jump, the defensive end as well. It wasn't just the offense. I mean, you mentioned it, him hitting 5 threes. They weren't all wide open either. He was pulling up with confidence. I think it was Ethan that tweeted Zubac got the second team all NBA or all defense, sorry. Mm-hmm. And Bam didn't. And Bam, over the course of his career, if someone gets something that he feels like he deserves, this man's on another level. So it's kind of sucks when Bam gets, robbed of something. But at the same time, just add that another team where Bam's going to go that next level against. He does take things personally in a good way, though. He doesn't try to force it to like compromise the team, but he takes it personally and knows he needs to step it up. So I think Bam, if you had to choose someone, and like you said, everyone was phenomenal. I mean, we didn't even mention Davion. He was like 6 of 6 from the field, 12 assists. And so I think you would have to choose Bam, though, just from start to finish.
Yeah, I think him establishing offense early was important for this team. Crazy enough to say him making threes early, being confident in the way that he shot them. I thought that all that was really good. Just it's healthy when Bam is involved the way that he was offensively tonight. And you alluded to Davion. That's where I'm going next. The guy played a perfect game. I mean, he's 6 of 6, doesn't miss a shot, 16 points, 12 assists, 2 turnovers. It's like he gets 2 turnovers and we're stunned because he never gets any turnovers. So he continues to play just lights out basketball. This was a game where they didn't lean into the bench as much, and we're going to talk about that using our next segment from Mobile C-Arm and Staffing. But I thought it was interesting the way that they kept this core group out there that we've kind of said, and against this Clipper team, everyone was really probably smaller when you just look at height and build from a matchup perspective. And when they play this smaller lineup, that's going to happen a lot of nights. And this was a game where finally the offense clicked to the point where they got back to some of the principles that we've seen them play with. Obviously, hitting over 50% of your threes always helps, but they really leaned into the starters tonight, especially when the Clippers made that mad dash run at the end. So you're seeing basically all the starters at over 30 minutes, and the bench didn't really come up as big as usual. We're going to talk about that next. Shout out to C-Arm and Staffing to kick off this segment.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
So, Major, if you have any favorite plays from throughout this game, feel free to drop them as we continue to talk through this game. But I kind of want to hone in on this situation that happened with the bench. So, Jaquez had another weird game, 2 of 10. Didn't play particularly well, only played 20 minutes. Kel'el Ware only played 16 minutes. Jaquez did have a little bit of foul trouble, but Ware was not in foul trouble. This projected to be a game where maybe Ware was going to be needed with Zubac out there. Drew Smith continues to get some semblance of minutes. We should mention Pele Larson got hurt. We don't know the status there. I have not heard anything. That created minutes for Simone Fontecchio. But really, I thought that maybe Jaquez would get even more minutes. Maybe Nico would get a second look. You didn't see that. They leaned into the starters. Do you think that is just a one-game thing where Spoelstra wanted to make sure they got tonight's victory? Or should we be reading into that the bench, which to start the season was kind of really the unit that was creating the real mismatches and advantages for Miami, it was all starters tonight, less about the bench. Jaquez and Ware specifically, those are guys that have been crucial to Miami's success. Do you read into their lack of minutes and, frankly, lack of production from tonight?
No, I mean, I think there's going to be times where you play more minutes. There's going to be times where you play less minutes, and it kind of correlates to production as well as just how the game flow is going. Like, why would you take out the starters when they're playing so great. And it's not like any of them played close to 40 minutes. I believe they're all like at like 32.
You're right.
I was looking while you're talking. So it's not like they played, too crazy of minutes. But then you look at it, and really the only bench player that I thought was productive to the level that they should be at was Drew Smith. Paquez was 2 of 10. He did have 4 rebounds, 5 assists, but like you said, he was in foul trouble. He wasn't his standard kind of like 6th man of the year leader that we've come to know and love. Fontecchio, 2 of 7, 1 of 6 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Continues to do some of the little things, but still wasn't amazing. Wasn't that knockdown shooter. He's fallen back to earth, which I think a lot of people, I mean, he's not going to shoot 50% for the whole year.
Yeah.
I think it's more so to do kind of how with the game's going. You have some players playing so great, then you have others not performing. Naturally, they're going to play a little bit more of the minutes. Especially, I think it's in a fun game. Guys want to go out there a little bit more.
So we're going to close with a couple things. We haven't talked a lot about Tyler Hero yet. So we are going to unpack his night because he played well. Ultimately 4 of 6 from 3, 8 of 15 from the field. So he was efficient, 22 points, pretty much within the flow of the offense. Had one where Bam tossed it kind of back to him and he was trailing and just pulled up from almost like some Steph logo stuff and hit one. And so he looked good, but it all looked more fluid within the offense. It looked like he was getting buckets a little bit more naturally. That's all good signs to me. The other thing that I think is really worth noting on an opposite end of this is that James Harden was benched for the entire second half, essentially. I think he maybe only played 2 minutes in the second half. Ended with, bear with me, 19 minutes and 11 points, 2 of 6 from the field. He had 5 turnovers. He was awful. I don't know what's going on with the Clippers. That's a mess. I would imagine Kawhi Leonard, who looked just like he was, out of this world down the stretch for that team. And he's still averaging really strong numbers. I know that you have to manage him with his injury stuff. I would imagine that with the way the Clippers are heading, that there's going to be talk of Kawhi Leonard maybe moving on. James Harden, I don't know that there'll be a market for. Your thoughts on this Clipper team that I think a lot of people thought would at least be in the running in the Western Conference for a playoff seed. They are not at all, and they may even owe their pick to OKC. It's just the worst scenario possible. So we'll close with a little bit of poking fun at James Harden because there's always so many people on social media that even want to talk about ranking him in the same conversation with Dwayne Wade in terms of guards all time. We are not hearing it. This is another example why. Your thoughts on James Harden and his night?
Yeah, I mean, he was trash, like you said. So, I mean, there's not really much else to say. In games like this, he tends to get worse and worse. He's not one of those guys like Kawhi that will continue to give max effort. He will kind of mail it in, and I think his team knows that. And so they take him out to prove a point. In his defense, all the starters did get taken out to prove a point. Kawhi was the first to come back in, and then they kind of put John Collins in and then Zubac. But I think Lou wanted to make a point, and so he benched the starters, and especially a guy like Harden he tends to, like I said, mail it in these type of games. But yeah, Kawhi's on another level. The Clippers, this is the worst case scenario for the NBA. If they just really do, if they trade Kawhi and that pick ends up being like top 5 going to OKC in this draft, I mean, might as well not even try. This is just horrible doomsday scenario that the Clippers are this bad. If you look at the roster, it doesn't really make that much sense. Not that they're not a championship contender, but that they're that bad. I think they only have 5 wins. So it's horrendous, and it doesn't look to be getting any better for them. But it's an age-old thing that I always say. Bad organizations will be bad organizations. They will find a way. It doesn't matter the players they have. Over time, they will not get results. And I think the Clippers are one of those.
They definitely are. And obviously there was stuff behind the scenes early on in the season that kind of put the stank on the Clippers season in general. That's just a situation to watch for the Heat. They now head to Dallas and then Orlando. So that's Wednesday, Friday before being back at home against Sacramento. So they've got some winnable games and they're at Orlando again. I'm just, looking at the schedule here, at Brooklyn, at Boston before they go to New York. So they've got a winnable stretch here. And I think that this is, as we look at them, I think that they are now 10-2 at home. That's probably good for second or third best home record in the association. If they can keep stacking wins, win the games that they're supposed to, protect home court, December could be a good month for them. So they got started with a relative bang when you talk about 140 points. We will take it. They shot well. So Heat fans can feel good. Major, thank you for your time. Shout out to all of our sponsors. Prize Picks, use the code 5. We always shout them out. But Cash App, Secure 10 is the code there. Insurance by Lynette and C. Armin Staffing. Good night.